Hello YouTube, and a very special hello to my subscribers. My name is Phil, I'm the Income School student. Today is the third video in a series where I respond to a review of Project 24 that was made by a channel called Keyword Research Company. And I thought that the review was a little bit off, and I just wanted to give my perspective as a current Project 24 member. Basically, the review was 7 reasons not to buy Project 24, and I think all of the reasons are not very good ones. Today we're going to be talking about the third thing on the list, which was Jim and Ricky from Income School tell you to outsource all of your content. That simply is not true. But I can understand why the guy thought that. So I think that what this comes down to is about a year ago, the guys launched a project which was called Project Rexburg. And the idea was to test the theory of if you produced a lot of content very quickly and built a lot of websites by just outsourcing all of your content, what would be the result? And you should know that now that is over. Project Rexburg, which was an office in Rexburg in Idaho that employed a number of students from the university there. Jim and Ricky have closed that because they've tested it and they found that it's not the strategy that we should go for. So what about outsourcing content? Well, first of all, if this is your first website, you shouldn't do that until it's a little bit more established. Probably until 3 or 4 months in, you don't want to outsource anything. You should certainly write everything yourself. But after writing so many articles and such in-depth articles with such good content, you're probably going to want to outsource eventually. And this is possible when you start making a little bit of money. So the first sort of $1,000 to $2,000 that you make, that should probably go right back into your business, and it should go into content more than anything else. But I can understand why the guy that made this video, he was a little bit, angry about that. He thought that here are two guys saying you should spend thousands of dollars on content, and that's simply not possible for anyone. But the thing is, outsourcing your content is not a bad thing. Ghostwriters exist in every single walk of life. The classic example is any sort of book you've read by any politician was never written by them. It's written by a ghostwriter. But the major thing is that if you do outsource any content, it should always go under your name. But my real problem was it was just the way that Keyword Research Company was talking about investing in the business. And he seemed like almost offended that someone would suggest that he should pay money for his business. Now, I can understand early on, and I'm the same thing. I'm the same way. So my main Project 24 website, at the moment, I've got 65 posts on it. I've made 13 YouTube videos, and I've done that all myself. I haven't outsourced anything at all. But it's a lot of work. And the thing is, if you're not prepared to invest anything into your business, you're never going to make it. And this is just from things like buying courses, even buying themes or WordPress, or paying for things like email, delivery systems, all those kind of things. If you try and do everything for free, you're never going to quite get across the starting line, I would say. There are tools out there that you simply need, and perhaps investing in content is just one of them. So I can understand if you're starting out, you're a little bit wary of doing that, but you shouldn't ever think, I'm never going to invest in content. You will need to do it eventually, and probably as you go on into the future, you're going to write less and less, and more of your content is going to be written by others. So I'm talking from experience because recently I've launched 2 new websites, and I'm going to entirely outsource the content to writers. But that doesn't mean that I don't do any work. I have to do a lot of research to find the titles that I give them. I have to do a lot of sort of research to give them ideas so they write exactly what I want and in the style that I want. And I also have to go and edit those posts so they are firmly in my voice and they represent what I want for my brand. So although you might be outsourcing content, that's because it gives you time to do other things that are more important. So definitely, if you've got the viewpoint, I'm never going to invest in myself, I don't think you're going to ever succeed in this business. And the other point I'd make is that sometimes not outsourcing content is a bit of a barrier. Sure, you've got to have the money, but for certain people that still want to succeed as an internet marketer in English, they're not able to do this without outsourcing. So if you're a non-native, then you have to outsource content if you want to appear like a native to your users who are native speakers. Now, I speak a second language. I speak French. My French is pretty good, but I would never want to write a blog in French because it's difficult. It's not quite the same as speaking. There's so many rules, grammar rules and things like that. So if I was building a website in French, I would certainly have to outsource all of that material. So there's kind of a barrier there. If you're a non-native English speaker, you're going to have to outsource, or at least you're going to have to pay someone to proofread your work. The other thing is, if you are a native speaker, but you're just not a very good writer, or you don't enjoy writing, or you find it difficult, it might actually be cheaper in the long run, or less time consuming, let's say, to pay someone else to do it, and then just go through and edit a little bit to meet your sort of requirements. So outsourcing content is not a bad thing. It's not going to have any negative effects on your website in terms of ranking on Google, and sometimes it's just necessary, and it's the only way that you're going to get off the treadmill of trying to keep up with your production of articles each day. I can tell you that for my 2 new websites, I've got nearly 20 articles on them, and that happened in the space of 2 weeks. And if I was doing that on my own, it would take me at least a month and a half. So definitely outsource your content as soon as you're able to do it. But perhaps don't do it right at the beginning of starting a Project 24 style website. And I'll be talking about why in a future video. Okay, so hopefully you found that useful and you agree with my point of view, because this is what I've been taught by Project 24. But of course, if you've got your own ideas, leave me a comment and let's talk about it. Let's see what we think, and maybe we can come to an agreement and find the best way to push forward in our own businesses. So please subscribe to the channel if you found this useful. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, and I will see you in the next video, which will come out tomorrow. And if you haven't at this stage caught any of the other videos, look in the link below, in the description below. There's a link to the first video in the series, and you can go back and look at all the other reasons why I think you should buy Project 24.